Okay. All right. Well, we are live. Okay. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. It is Lady Victoria with Victoria School of Etiquette. It's kind of been a long day. It's kind of been a long day, everybody. A lot going on today in the regular JOB. But nonetheless, I am here and glad about it. Right? So you all just come on in, those of you that are still up. I know some of you are. And thank you for being part of our platform on this evening. Lady Victoria with Victoria School of Etiquette, where we offer a solution to your etiquette dilemmas. Wait a minute. And I am broadcasting. Good evening, Patrick. Get my mic set up. I got to plug it in. Hold on. Here we go. I want to make sure that you all can hear me well. Okay. So, yes, broadcasting to you live this evening from the great windy city of Chicago. Chi-Town is what we like to call it. We really are the best in the Midwest. And Victoria School of Etiquette, we're very happy to have you be a part of our platform on this evening. Thank you so much for joining us live. We are grateful that you are here taking time out of your evening to spend a little bit of time with me. So please feel free to like and share across your various social media platforms. I appreciate that. And for those of you that will catch the replay, thank you for taking time out, because you could be doing anything else, but you decided to take a look and take a listen. And for those of you that are on my YouTube channel, thank you for watching and continuing to subscribe and also sharing across your social media platforms. And for those of you that have not subscribe to my YouTube channel by the same name, Victoria School of Etiquette, please head on over to YouTube and do so. I'm going to post up a link a little bit later where you can just click the link and it'll take you right there, and you just join up, hit the subscribe button. That way you have access to all of our media content available right at your fingertips whenever you so please to watch them. So thank you so very much for that. Before I get started on our topic this evening, I want to make a little bit of an announcement, and I'll have to add that information in before I post this over to YouTube. But I wanted to remind everyone that participated in the pre-sales event for the book that I had the pleasure of being a part of, the anthology project, The Race to the Ring, The 7 C's of a Successful Courtship. Guys, I am really telling you, not because I am a part of this project, because there are 7 other people that were a part of this project collectively. And the book is a great read. You will not regret getting it. It is about relationships, and it hits true. It hits a true chord on the 7 C's of a successful courtship. So you still have an opportunity to get your autographed copy during the pre-sales, which will end on February 13th. And then the book will actually be published on Valentine's Day. I'm sorry, not published. It's already published. The book will officially launch on Valentine's Day, February 14th. That's when we will launch the product, and also be on the lookout for the sign up that I will have. Well, we will have an open house for a sign up of the book. You know what I'm trying to say? Not a sign up, where you can come in and still get your autographed copy. I told you it's been a long day, right? But anyway, I'm here. Thank you all for being here with me. But anyway, look for that information. You can cash at me at Victorious Etiquette to get your pre-autographed copy for only $15 during the pre-sales event. Okay, so get your copies in now. Get your orders in now. Order one for yourself. Order one for a friend. It would make a great gift to a couple that might be engaged or newly married, or for someone that's been mature in marriage. It's just a really good book. So, The Race to the Ring. And I am one of the authors on it. So thank you so much for that, and bear with me through my announcement phase. So I want to talk to you a little bit on tonight about something that we're all familiar with, something that we have all experienced. PAIN, pain, hurt, trauma, distress, good evening. All of those things that happen to us in our bodies that cause us to have a painful situation going on, whether the pain is physical, whether it is emotional. It hurts just the same. And so when we have something like that, if we cut our fingers, something that small, or if, we've been in a car accident, something that can be really tragic or can be really devastating, we find ourselves, uh, oh, okay, somebody already responded. Thank you. When we have pain, we respond to the pain, right? We yell, sometimes we scream, we cry, we bleed. Those things happen when we are in pain. If it's emotional pain, we feel it internally, in the area what we call our heart, we feel it there. We feel it, in different places. We feel it in our mind. We feel the pain. We feel the after effects, even of the pain, the after effects, sometimes the healing portion of it, we experience that as well. It's all part of the pain process and the healing process. So what happens to the body and what happens to the mind after the painful event is over? Some of us, we have scars of things that have happened to us when we were younger. I have a scar on my knee, on my left knee, from when I was hit by a car when I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. And I'm many years over that age now, but I still have the scar there. I don't think you can see it here because I'm shining like new money with my makeup here, but I also have a scar here, kind of right between my eyebrows. From an accident that I was in also when I was a teenager. So we have various things that cause us pain, but what happens when the incident is over? And we said we've forgotten all about it. It's been years. Like I said, I had that accident when I was like maybe 9 or 10 years old, 11 at most. I don't think I was quite that old when that accident happened. I was actually hit by a car. So that was traumatic. And I was a young girl and, oh my gosh, it was painful. It was crazy. And all of that. I still have vivid memories of it, but I no longer experience the physical pain of it. So my body has forgotten about it. My mind remembers it because it was an incident in my life. But I say, oh, I forgot all about that accident. That happened, 30 years ago or 40 years ago or whatever it was, right? But were you aware of the fact that even though our mind can forget about painful experiences that we have, that the body itself, especially the member of the body that was affected by the pain, has a way of remembering the pain? Isn't that fantastic? When I started reading up on this and doing a little bit of research on it, that was one of the things that I discovered. I said, wait a minute, hold on. You need to tell me my mind has forgotten about this experience. It's not at the front of my mind anymore. But I've forgotten about it. But my body, the limbs that might have been affected by it, still remembers that this was a painful incident, that there was some trauma that happened to my knee. My knee was affected. Both of my knees were, but my knees were affected, especially my left knee was affected by this pain. Good evening. Thank you for joining Victoria School of Etiquette. So my knee, the tissue and everything under there, the muscle in that body part remembers the pain. Don't you think that's fascinating? I think that's absolutely fascinating. Now, when we talk about pain in the body, our body remembers pain for different reasons. We remember painful incidents as a reminder to don't do that again. The body is telling you this hurts, so let's not do this again. So you remember that incident. You remember that when you were cutting up onions and you near about sliced your finger off, cutting up an onion, and it's painful. So the finger remembers that and reserves the memory. It trains the brain to know this is harmful. Let's not do this again. So that's one of the reasons why our body remembers the pain. So for it not to become a repeat offense against that limb. Okay. So when I was hit by that car and my knee was sliced open, I mean, it was a long cut across the top of my knee, and my knee was like open, like an open face sandwich. I can't see my hands. My knee was just like that. I mean, you could see the white meat and all of that. It was, pretty scary for a young kid such as myself. But it healed itself over time. I mean, I was in the hospital overnight and blah, 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 and all of that and everything. I was hit by a drunk driver, and he was very repentant. He was very sorrowful and all that and everything. But my body still remembers that trauma. I don't feel it anymore. I don't feel pain in that area. And I remember growing up as a young girl there for a long time. It seemed like I still felt pain in that area. And I didn't know why. I just thought it was still part of the healing process. And it was just taking a long time. Had a scar across it and everything, but it's been so long ago now until the scar is barely visible. But I know that it's there because I know what happened to me. But if I were to show you, it might be really small. You might have to really squirm to see it, but it is still there. But underneath the skin, underneath the tissue and all of that, underneath there, my left knee still remembers that I suffered trauma. I suffered a severe blow to my knee. Thank God my kneecap wasn't crushed. But like I said, my knee was split open like a sandwich. Blood was everywhere and all of that. And I remember them covering me up with a blanket, and I took my hand and stuck it underneath the blanket so as to like lift it up. I kind of tinted it so that it wasn't touching my skin because it hurt. It really hurt terribly when that happened. But I am totally fascinated by the fact that it's not so much our brain that remembers the incident. It is the nerve endings that remembers the incident. When you get hit, okay? So my fist hitting my hand sends a signal to my brain to tell my hand that hurts. If I slap myself, my brain is going to send a signal to say, hey, she slapped her face. So pain is going to erupt in that area. The nerve endings in our body is what remembers what happened to it in that time, whenever the incident happened. And so my research tells me that the front part of our brain, our prefrontal cortex, is a part of the brain located at the front of the frontal lobe. It is implicated in a variety of complex behaviors, including planning, and greatly contributes to personality development. That's another little tidbit of information. But the role of the prefrontal cortex has several executive functions that it carries out. Focusing one's attention, impulse control, coordinating and adjusting complex behaviors. Like I can't do A until B happens, so I can't do one thing until the other things happen. I really want to buy a car, but I can't buy a car until I get my license. So this is where we will process that information. But let me see, there was one that I wanted to really focus in on. Okay. Yes, the brain is very interconnected, both physically and in functionality. Okay, it is difficult to point to a specific part of the brain and say this is a section alone that controls a certain ability. But when you split it up, the prefrontal cortex into these three areas, the medial prefrontal cortex contributes to attention and motivation. Okay, it's like a little start button. You push that button, and it helps to get things going. Okay, it can be thought of as a metaphorical start button, allowing people to begin an activity when it is time to do so. Lesions like injuries in this area cause people to become apathetic and unfocused. So if you have an injury to that part of your brain, then you're going to lose some control there. Okay. I really like number 2, the orbital prefrontal cortex helps people control their impulses and ignore distractions. It helps them keep strong emotions in check in order to follow social rules. Social rules. I'm an etiquette consultant, and here we're talking about social rules. So when you're not adhering to all those proper etiquette protocols and mannerisms and behaviors that we should carry out, I'm going to say that you're having a breakdown of your orbital prefrontal cortex. That's what I'm going to say to you from now on. I'm just joking a little bit and having a little fun. The whoopings as a kid, my body still remembers. Yeah, Patrick, I remember some of those too. I didn't get that many whoopings though. I can say I really did not get that many whoopings, but the ones I got, oh, I remember. I remember. Hey, my girl. Hey, Linus. So, yes, our brain works with this prefrontal cortex, that lobe, works with other parts of the brain, right? And parts of that prefrontal cortex controls um, some of the behaviors and some of the mannerisms and what have you that we have or that we uh, associate with other behaviors that we might do. The other part, the last part of the prefrontal cortex is called the lateral prefrontal cortex. This portion allows people to create and execute plans. This region also helps individuals organize actions in a certain sequence, such as when a person needs to follow a recipe. So that when the recipe is calling for, first you put in the flour, and then you put in the salt, and then you put in the baking soda and all of that. So it helps us to be able to do things in sequential order. And that's what that part of it is. But I'm just really, truly amazed at how things can go on in our body. And don't have me acting up on my own show, Patrick. Let me call you by your full government name. I'm not saying anything about that. That's an inside joke for the others of you that are watching. You don't know he posted up full apart. That's an inside joke. We all have some trauma that we remember, and some trauma we remember more so than others. Okay. Um, so we have to know and understand, though, that when these things happen, the body is really designed to heal itself. The body is designed to bring itself out of trauma. And sometimes I think we block our healing processes because we hold on to the memories in our brains, not the part of our nervous system that remembers the pain. So it sets up a reaction against pain when pain happens because that body part does not want to repeat performance of that. You know, I don't want to be hit by a car again and have my knees injured again, right? Or the other accident I had that I think was even more traumatic than the car accident, falling off the back end of a school bus. I think I talked about this one recently in another post. And, you know, I was in therapies and in rehab in the healing process for a little over 18 months I was. I don't want to relive that. I remember having the different meds that I had to take and the therapies that I had to go to and having flight or fight syndrome. You know, all of those things, seeing a yellow school bus, seeing any type of flashing light, you know, triggered that thing in my mind again. And I did feel the physical pain of it for a very long time in my body. My neck was injured, my shoulder was injured, my left side, my left knee. I was wearing a neck brace. They wanted me to be on crutches, but I refused to use crutches. You know, all kinds of things. My body went through all kinds of trauma. And it wasn't just physical trauma, but it was emotional trauma as well that had me bound up, you know, for a long time. And I had no idea at that time that while my body was going through the physical transformation of healing through the pain, that inside my body, you know, the nerve endings in my neck and in my back and in my shoulder, and on my left side was affected again. It wasn't my knee, but it was my shin and my ankle that was affected at that time. And little did I know that those nerve endings in my nervous system was sending out information throughout the body that said, this part is traumatized. Her neck is traumatized. Let's remember this so this doesn't happen again. If it does happen again, we recognize it and remember it as pain. But if this thing goes on for too long, it can go from acute to chronic, or is it the other way around? But it can go to a place where it can be detrimental when we hold on to the memory of it, and our body is also holding on to the memory of it. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on this evening. When our body is holding on to it for a long, long time, we can go from one stage of pain to the other until it becomes critical. And some research and some studies suggest that when this happens, that this can also be a precursor to Alzheimer or dementia. Now, I haven't studied enough on that. I have to do that, and I'll come back and do another show on it when I've learned some more information about that. But just one of the research studies that I was reading suggested that as well. So I'm talking about pain. I'm talking about trauma on tonight simply because, it's something that we experience all the time. But again, pointing to the events on yesterday that shocked the nation about Kobe Bryant. And I don't want to belabor that point either. But again, that's another type of pain. That's emotional pain. That's not physical pain. We didn't experience the physical pain, but we experienced emotional pain hearing about that trauma. And for some people, it provoked them to tears. To some people, it provoked them to different pains and feelings that they were having inside their bodies internally. I know for me, it just began to feel like my stomach was upset, that I just wasn't feeling right. I just, I was like, what? So that was pain of a different type. But do you know that those receptors at the end of our nerve endings categorize that as pain for me and for others that were crying and weeping and what have you? And it's going to remember that. And it will process that kind of pain again, even when it's attached emotionally, even when it's attached psychologically. It remembers it and it records it so that we don't go back and have a repeat performance of those things. So I just found this to be a very, very interesting topic, and I thought that this was just a little tidbit of information that I could share with you on this evening. That's what Tidbit Tuesdays is all about, just sharing a little bit of information that I feel can help you in your day, or maybe able to help you in your life. And I think that it is a privilege to be able to do so. So I wanted to share this with you and not go long on this evening. I don't always like coming on doing the later broadcast, but sometimes the demands of the day job kind of take over, and here I am. So anyway, I just wanted to share that information with you. If you have questions, excuse me, if you have questions about this subject or about any other subject that you would like for Lady Victoria to address from an etiquette standpoint, please feel free to reach out to me. You can inbox me. You can direct message me. You can also, you can do so right here on my page. You can do so on Messenger, and you can also do so on Instagram as well. If you want to email me, you can do that at vsetc16@gmail.com. VSETC, Victoria School of Etiquette Training and Consultant, the number 16@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram. You can follow me also on Twitter. And of course, again, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go over there to my channel by the same name, Victoria School of Etiquette, and subscribe so that you have the option of watching our videos at any time. So again, thank you for joining us on tonight. Not a long one on tonight. We just wanted to share that information. So just remember that when we're going through pain, the body records it and the body remembers it, so we do not have a repeat performance. I think it tells us in Proverbs, I think it's 139, Proverbs 139 and 14, that we are beautifully made. I'm paraphrasing that scripture, that we are wonderfully and beautifully made. And God made the body in such a way as to, no matter what kind of trauma we experience, whether it's a small thing as having a paper cut, or a really large thing as being in a terrible accident or fire or anything like that, that the body is designed to heal and repair itself. The body is designed to renew itself, to regenerate itself. And so I want us not to stand in the way of our healing and our new development by holding on to painful memories that causes us to relive the pain all over again. All over again. So allow yourself to come to a place where you can be renewed and revived and revitalized, and you can heal from the pain, both physically, but you also want to be able to heal from the pain emotionally. The less you remember it, even though the receptors remember it, if you don't interact with it, then it doesn't become an ongoing issue. It doesn't become chronic. It doesn't become acute. But it can come to a place where, like I said, the body can heal and repair itself. But you have to aid. You have to aid the body in doing so. This is Lady Victoria with Victoria School of Etiquette, where we like to offer a solution for all of your etiquette dilemmas. Thank you so very much for watching our show on tonight. Please like and share across your various social media platforms. And remember, the manners that you practice in private are the ones that show up in public. Lady Victoria signing off. Bye for now.